Hi, folks, and thanks for joining us for this video podcast. We're going to do more of these. We're going to put them up on our YouTube channel. Probably won't do all of them from the studio in which I am setting right now. So hopefully we'll get a little activity going on at the world headquarters. But I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce you to what RacketQuest LLC does, in case you don't know. All right? And there are probably several million of you that don't know, or maybe even more than that. But we would like for everyone to know what we do and why we do it. For nearly 50 years, I have been involved in tennis rackets, from designing and building to preparing, customizing, and selling them at retail and otherwise. I've got to say that the learning process was extraordinary. It was fun, or I wouldn't continue to be doing it. It was very, very, very enlightening. The learning curve was not very steep, okay, but there was a learning curve indeed, okay. To give you a little background, the first tennis racket I designed was a one-piece injection molded carbon reinforced tennis racket with a huge head size of 68.8. And believe it or not, that was a requirement to use the gut that was produced at that time, which came in two pieces, 22 feet and 11. Almost anything over 68 square inches, the string was too short. So 68 square inches was about where it had to be. And the racket at that time, the most popular racket was a Wilson Jack Kramer Autograph. So naturally, I tried to copy that. Why not? And the weight, the swing weight, the stiffness, etc. To make a long story short, it was a great exercise. I learned a lot of things not to do, but in the scheme of things, it just was not a proper tennis racket. It just wasn't. Okay, it's much too flexible, to be honest with you. The string pattern I had designed was far too complicated, so complicated that I scratched that idea immediately, right, and went on to something certainly more traditional. So that was the beginning. And from that time, I became very, very, very interested in the science of the craft and the art of racket stringing. I learned a lot of things about supporting the racket, and the support is critical. It is even more critical now than it was back in those small-headed days. And a lot of the stringing machines have not kept up, to be honest with you. So the support of the rackets is marginal in some cases. So when the opportunity arose to find a machine that was very, very supportive, we grabbed onto that opportunity, and that was back in around 1984, 1985, something like that. And we've been using the machine. We heavily modified them, but we've been using that machine since that time. We have other machines, of course. We have the Boblet Racket Station, and we have the Wilson Biardo. We've tested almost every stringing machine there is. We do not have them on the floor because our floor is much too small. So, but those machines are very, very, very good. They're very good. If you walk into a place and they have a Biardo or a Racket Station or a Yonex Pro Series or Technofiber, yeah, that's about as good as you're going to find in that type of machine. Okay, so you can feel comfortable that that's about the best you're going to find. Okay? Unless, of course, you come to the world headquarters in Castleberry, Florida, and you'll find 4 or 5 of our custom machines, and you'll recognize, I think, right off why we continue to use these machines. There just is no way the racket is going to be damaged in any way. And that is one of the reasons. The other reason is consistency. So, but anyway, that's a little bit about how we got to the point where we are right now. The other thing we do is do it the best we possibly can every single time. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what racket you're playing with, etc. Do the best we possibly can every single time. Consistency is king. And you, the player, are the king squared, okay? The bottom line is you, okay? What you think about the product when you're playing with it. One of the things we do as we prepare a tennis racket is collect a tremendous amount of data. By data, I mean numbers. And if you've been listening to our podcast or any of the posts on our website, you know I use numbers a lot. And maybe you get tired of it, but please don't. Remember, if we know the numbers, you do not need to. You do need to know the feel. You tell us what the feel is, we can tell you what the number means, and we can change it if it needs to be changed, or we can explain it if it just needs explanation. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much to it, but the numbers we have begun to use over the years, and this goes back many years. We know the power potential of the string. We know the ultimate tensile strength. We know the stress strain curves of the string. We know each racket in terms of the flexibility on the RDC and a couple other machines. We know the swing weight, calculated and otherwise. The RDC we use every single day. We use the Erica balance system, which is an electronic balancing data collection device, which is extraordinary. We use it more than any other machine, to be honest with you. As rackets come in we don't know anything about, the first place it goes is on the Erica balance system to tell us what the head weight and the grip weight or the butt weight is. Those are very important numbers. And from there we go on to other things, the triplet scale, for example. So there's a lot of stuff that we do in the beginning, and at the end we take the string bed stiffness 4 different ways. We take the flexibility again. We will take, before we swing the racket, we will take an in-plane stiffness number, which tells us, it gives us an idea of how the stiffness of the racket this way, between the 9 and 3 o'clock position, how stiff is that? Because that definitely has an effect on the string bed stiffness, which is the total feel of the ball hitting the string bed. Okay, so that is important. We need to know that so we can make the right decisions about stringing for you, the individual, and the racket. You know, rackets are not round, and even if they were, it would be very difficult to do a string pattern on our machines that would not end up at 50-50. Strings typically will come off the stringing machine, most stringing machines, at a natural ratio. The natural ratio is the number of main strings, cross strings, head length, and head width. There's a long, big calculation that tells us that number exactly, and that is the ratio between main strings and cross strings on a machine like ours that does not allow the racket to distort. Not only that, we can put the strings in at lower tensions because there's not going to be any stress on the frame causing it to change shape, which changes the string bed stiffness a great deal. Okay, so again, it's a matter of consistency. and we try very, very hard to make sure it is consistent. After every racket is done, the data is taken. We can compare that data to the previous one. And if there's anything that's out of ordinary, we will find out what it is and either correct it or make sure that the player knows that the racket may be beyond its usable life. Doesn't happen very often, but sometimes they they do they just wear out. They're like human beings, I guess, and cars and brakes and tires and stuff. They simply get tired and say, I've had it. I'm out of here. So we will know that by listening and listening and looking at the stiffness numbers. After that, the matter of the racket being ready to play with includes a vibration damper, typically, and an overgrip. When the racket leaves the world headquarters of Racket Quest, those numbers are included in the overall weight, the swing weight, the polar moment, things of that nature. But again, those are things that you may be interested in. If you don't know, you don't need to know about them. We know them. All you have to do is say, boy, that feels great, or that is terrible, okay? And either way, we have to know that. So I'm asking everybody that's watching this and listening to it to please comment. Please let us know what you are finding out and what you're feeling with your rackets. Whether we do them or not, it doesn't matter, okay? we do a tremendous amount of tennis rackets. In the last couple of months, I think we've done every racket on the planet, okay? I know it feels like it's been very, very, very busy. I know that's not necessarily true. Maybe North America. Okay, how's that? Not the planet. Okay, North America, we'll say. That's what it feels like. Okay, but we want your feedback. We want to know what you think about your racket. You can tell us how it was strung, in your opinion. You can tell us what the string is. You can tell us what stringing machine it is. You can tell us everything you need to know. And with that information, we can make some ideas available for other people, okay, that may have a similar issue or want that similar playability. So anyway, I'm sorry for going so long on this, but I wanted to get it out there. I apologize for the studio being not a real studio and not at the world headquarters of Racket Quest. But right now, this is what we're going to do. I want to do it more often. So if you see this view, get used to it, okay? But please, 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 let us know if you have any questions. RacketQuest.tennis is the website. Text us, please, 407-491-4755. Thanks for listening and watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.